Hello everyone and a big welcome to Fibo, the leading supplier of waterproof wall panels. Founded in Norway in 1952, Fibo quickly established a reputation for high quality, maintenance-free waterproof panels for bathrooms and wet rooms. It is now the European market leader. The UK division was launched in 1981 and was known as Respatex until it was rebranded to Fibo to match the Norwegian name. My name is Tim Wood, editor of Builders Merchants News, and I'm honoured to be joined today by Scott Beattie, who's been managing director of Fibo for the past 4 years. Scott heads up the UK team to drive distribution awareness and usage across the UK. So that's a brief introduction. Scott, perhaps you can tell me a little bit more about the work you do, please.
So thanks for the intro, Tim. So my role really is I came in to expand the UK market. So when I joined the business, it was a sleepy brand. There'd been no real investment in the brand at all. We had one salesperson for the whole of the UK. So my remit was really coming in and taking this, what I thought was a really great product, and just creating awareness, getting into showrooms, dealing with merchants and building up the team and really putting Fibo on the map. So that's been my role over the past four and a half years.
What exactly are Fibo wall panels, please, Scott?
Right. So basically, Fibo wall panels is it's an alternative to tiles that they go on the wall, and you would originally use them in bathrooms or kitchens, but actually we're finding now that there is usage outside of these rooms. So they're being used in school corridors, for example. They're being used in university public rooms, that type of thing. And they are a 2.4 meter by 600 mil size panel. They're made with a plywood core, 7 layers of plywood. It's laminated on the front. Also, there's a backing, a moisture backing on the reverse. And it's a very simple way of covering your walls in a quick and efficient way.
So wood in wet environments, that's a strange one. Does this sound feasible? I mean, how reliable are the wall panels themselves in this situation?
Yeah, so it's a good question, and it's a question that we often get asked. So, hang on, wood in a bathroom in a wet environment, does that sound like a sensible thing? But they were actually developed back in 1952, as you mentioned in your intro. And they were developed really for the Scandinavian market. And the Scandinavian market are very much wet rooms. So the concept of standing in a plastic shower tray showering is something completely alien. Yeah. So in Scandinavia, very, very high standards and regulations for fitting out wet rooms to make sure it's fully waterproof. There's no water ingress at all in the entire system. So we actually meet and surpass all of these standards. And that's all we do, Tim. So over the past 70 years, we only manufacture wall panels. We don't do ceilings, we don't do flooring. And we've really perfected our manufacturing process and product, so much so that this month we increased our warranty from 15 to 25 years. So there's nobody else out there in the marketplace offering 25 years. So for those that are a little bit dubious, not sure, wood in a bathroom, wood in a kitchen, wet environments, the reassurance that we can now offer 25 years, I think, should give all the confidence required.
Okay, so they've been tried and tested for 70 years, the Fibo wall panels, as alluded to earlier on now.
Yeah.
And yet there's still talk of misconceptions and a hesitation to specify wall panels regardless of brand. Are you still seeing this? Has that changed? And if it has changed, how?
Traditionally, panelling had quite a poor perception. It was seen as quite cheap and nasty, plastic bits of sheeting that butt together on a wall, and it doesn't look particularly good. And with our panels, and you've got to really see it in situ, and that's why we have a good relationship to the merchants with the showrooms, because once you see it and you touch it and you feel it, it really does change your perception. So kind of seeing is believing in our case.
It's so important for the merchant, for people to go in and actually get a feel and a touch for the product, as you say.
Absolutely.
It can look great in a brochure, but you actually want to see what it looks like and how you're going to work with it. So I get that. So as far as your business support for your merchant partners, particularly in an industry that often adapts, either due to design trends or due to legislation, what business support do you actually offer the merchants?
So I think the most important thing I'd say And it goes back to your previous question about, how do we kind of overcome these obstacles. So what we've really driven as a team is to target our merchants customers. So we get to the installers, we get to the builders, we get to the public sector, private sector, and we convince these guys to trial it. We work with them, and then we push that business back through the merchants. So it's quite unusual. So in many instances, we've opened up merchants' accounts by bringing business to them and saying, look, we've got the installer, we've sold the concept to them, now they need somewhere to purchase it from. So I think that would be the kind of the top of our list in terms of why we've had good success with the merchants. And then in addition to that, we offer panels for display, we offer point of sale material. I've got a sales team that go around and do the training and install nice point of sale display stands and that type of thing, as they would expect anyway, I think. But really differentiates us is driving business to the merchants, because we've built very, very good relationships.
So what sort of builds and customers are your products most suited for, Scott?
Well, I mean, a huge variety really. So from public sector to private sector, we do social housing, care homes. We've done universities, hospitals, offices, modular, new build, refurbs. So there's no
anything that you don't do, Scott.
It's probably. I was trying to think. So predominantly, a few years ago, it was mainly bathrooms and kitchens. So wherever tiles were used, this is a great alternative to tiles. And what we found recently is that we're actually moving out of the bathroom and kitchen and traditional wet areas and going into other rooms. So, rather than particularly if speed is of the essence, and it is particularly for modular and obviously for social housing refurbs and adaptations, then you can, negate the need for plastering, for skimming, waiting till it dries, painting it. So for lining corridors, that type of thing, it's just a great alternative. So we're finding we're getting business outside of the bathroom and kitchen, which is great news for us.
Is there a demand for any type of product at the moment? One standout that you can think of?
So
doing kitchens or bathrooms?
Yeah, so for us, we find that still people want the tile effect look. So we do plain panels and we do tile panels. And whilst the installers and customers are happy to move away from actual tiles, they still want that tile effect. So we still feel that the tile effect is probably here to stay, and that's something that and I don't know if you are familiar with how familiar you are with Fibo. We actually router in the tile effect. So rather than just printing it on the surface, we router it in.
Okay.
Which is a very specialized look and feel, but and very specialized manufacturing. But the look and feel of it on the wall, you would think it is. You'd think it's art.
Impressive stuff. Impressive stuff. Thank you. And then finally, and perhaps this is quite an obvious question in the unprecedented times we're living in. Where do you predict kitchen and bathroom design will be heading over the next few years?
I think what we're finding with bathrooms is that the wet rooms are growing in popularity. So certainly we found that if we look at the average number of panels we would sell per bathroom, that has gone up because there is the incentive to either have a wet room or not a wet room, to just kind of panel the whole room, because it can really transform a room. Kitchens, that's a tougher one. The trend is certainly kind of more open plan. So I think, again, when you think about the kitchen walls, there's a lot more thought put into that rather than I just slap some tiles on. But certainly at Fibo, obviously based in Norway, all the NPD guys, they are constantly looking at trends and trying to spot the next new design or colour.
The kitchens are becoming a very important room in the house now, aren't they? They're seen as real social areas, and it's an extension that there's more open plan, and they want the kitchens to look as good as the other downstairs rooms in the house, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. No, for sure they do. And also having these kind of feature walls. I mean, feature walls are quite quite common now in bathrooms, where you might have a strip running down behind a shower head, or you have one wall which is a different decor to the other walls. So we might see some of that moving into kitchens.
Okay, I think we've covered everything there, Scott. Thank you ever so much. It's been a pleasure talking with you, and I'd like to wish you and everyone at Fibo best wishes and lots of success for the future. And finally, to all our viewers, thank you very much indeed for watching. Thank you.
Thank you.